On the dot.org. The sound of molecules, air purifying pico technology, safely dismantling fallen.
You were gonna be on the show with her like once a week or something, or what?
I'm with her every Monday.
Okay.
I was just, it's because she left for the DeFi, for the tour, that that we kind of stopped because it was just too hard to get us both at the same time and on the phone, and there's always a technical issue. And
yeah, there were a couple of days they played recording for her.
yes, yeah, they did a recording, yeah, because let me make sure we're live.
They're not up to date on the podcast.
No. No, the podcasts are the old ones. I know, I saw that too.
I was wondering, they gonna make it?
Yeah.
They're not keeping up with the podcast.
Yeah.
That's like blowing the whole probably, you know?
Yeah, really. All right, we're live, YouTube and Facebook. Okay, awesome. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, cool. All right, you. Okay. Where's that coming from? Jesus. Okay. Oh, that's feedback. Got it. Where's that coming from? Jesus. Okay. Oh, that's feedback. Got it. Put this one right here. Oh, check this out.
You know, when you use Bitcoin, is that a taxable?
When you convert it to dollars, it is a taxable event. Correct.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
yes,
As
yes.
long as you don't convert
As long as you don't convert it to
it.
dollars, it is. Yeah. And then
Thinking about that.
and it's got to be over, I believe, 600 for you to get in trouble for it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I'm like, why would I get Bitcoin? Let's spend it, then it's taxable.
Right. No, that's true. All right, I think we're good, so we'll just get started and see how it all ends. Yeah. So, all right, so I'm going to show you guys Binks.com. Now, I've been getting a lot of questions. People telling me, like, can you do a little bit more of an educational version this time? So I'm going to do a little bit of this. So if I bore you, I apologize. Okay? And if I get too technical, please let me know. All right. So what is Bitcoin? What is this mysterious thing called the blockchain, right? Okay. So Bitcoins, as much as we want to believe that they're like this, that's not true, right? Bitcoins are not actual coins, right? What they are is a ledger, right? So it's not physical coins, but a ledger of payments sent and received, right? So here we have a ledger of Alice sending to Bob, Bob sending to Frank, Frank sending to Carlos, and so on. How exactly does that work? Okay, there are 100,000 full nodes, right? What's a full node? A full node is a computer or a server that holds the entire blockchain, right? So how does this work? Okay, if Alice were to send 5.3 Bitcoins to Bob, it would get marked in these ledgers, right? And each one of these ledgers is being held on one of these nodes, right? So every single transaction that was ever made is on this ledger. So if somebody tries to cheat and say, okay, I sent 5, but he actually sent 4, it gets checked against the other ledgers, and we find out that's not true.
So those are all duplicates of the same ledger?
Duplicates of the exact same ledger. 100,000 around the world. I run one for Binks, a full node. Most companies that are in the crypto space run a full node because in order to pull the Bitcoin addresses, we need to run a full node for the company. Do you as a user need to run a full node? No, you don't. You really don't. A lot of the wallets that you see like from Coinbase, those are not full nodes. You don't have to download the whole blockchain to do it. How does this work? All right. So we broadcast out to the ledger, right? The network that 5 BTC was sent to, sorry, got cut off, was sent to Bob, right? So Alice sent Bob 5 BTC, right? So it goes here, right? It goes on here, right? It goes on this ledger, right? And it keeps going. So it gets broadcasted to the network, to all of the ledgers like we talked about, right? Wait, but how can we trust that it really is Alice and she really holds and set 5 Bitcoins? Now, what we're talking about here is the double spend problem, right? We need a credit card, right? Usually to say, okay, if you, it's like a referee. So if I pay the, whatever, the clothing store a certain amount of money, right? And I turn around and say, oh, I never got my clothes. Or the clothing store says, they never paid us, right? And then I spend that money somewhere else, that's a double spend, right? Bitcoin allows us to be trustless so that we don't have this issue. How does that work exactly, right? All right. To fix that problem, we use what are called digital signatures. Now, these are public and private keys, all right? So how exactly does that work? We use our secret private key. So now in the crypto space, when we talk about two things, we talk about private keys and public keys, right? So a private key is something you never want to show anybody, right? You really don't even want to have it on the internet at all. So what happens is this: we use our private key to create the public key so that people can send us Bitcoin. Now, why do we need all these steps? Well, think about it. If we can prove that we have a private key by only showing our public key, then they can send us money without us ever having to reveal our private key. So our private key signs off on our public key, right? That way, whenever we want to give out a Bitcoin address, which is this, right? This is the public key. It's a Bitcoin address, right? We don't have to reveal our private key to give our public key away so we can get paid. And remember, this only goes from left to right. So if you wanted to actually go back, right, from public key to private, you can't. It uses something called SHA-256, which is kind of like it's a hash algorithm that turns, for example, the letter hippopotamus to a random amount of numbers like this, for example, right? So we're able to do that, private to public, right? So that's how that works. Now, the blockchain, right? In the blockchain, each block has a coded secure references to the previous block. So what are we talking about here, right? So here is block number 8FA, right? And let's say that it has the information from the previous block. So to keep it very basic, all of the information, which basically means all of the transactions that were made, get hashed, and then that particular string of code gets put into the next block. So they're attached to each other. It's
like putting a link.
Exactly. That's what we call it, the blockchain, right? So if this information is different than what it says here, right, then we know that this is wrong. It'll actually kick it out. It'll move on to another side chain, another computer that's running the full node, right? So this way we can't cheat, because if this one is wrong, this one won't be right either. If this one is wrong, the block all the way over here, the 30th block, won't work either, because they're all
like something's up with the integrity or something like that.
Yes. And if it's off, it moves on to another full node to check it.
Okay, I probably should ask this question earlier. Mm-hmm. When you talk about block, is each block full of ledgers, or what's the relationship?
Let me show you. Good question, because this is exactly what we're going right here, right? So here we go, right? So each one of these are transactions, right? So we saw that when you send from Alice to Bob, right, would be one transaction, right? Now, what happens is this: the miners, right? Because we talked about, right, the miners right there, right? So what the miners do is that they take these transactions and they organize it into this block, and they take all those transactions and they push it through SHA-256 to encode it to do it into the next block, one by one by one by one by one. So miners get rewarded Bitcoin for organizing the blocks so that all of us can do the transactions.
Okay, I'm still not getting the
Sure.
connection between the block and the ledger.
Okay, so the ledger, if you think of it this way, each one of these TXN is a transaction, right? So imagine that this bubble right here is the ledger, right? So the ledger is holding each one of the transactions that in code we call it TXN83, TXN888. That's how it looks in the code, and that just means one transaction. That just means Alice to Bob, Bob to Alice, John to Henry, Henry to Tom. Boom.
Okay. My first thought is the ledger contains names and an amount.
It does not. We we call it a ledger because it essentially does the same thing, but there's no actual names here. It just shows a little piece of code that you can look up which wallet received what amount.
Which wallet received what amount?
Yes.
So it is a transaction.
Yes.
Okay.
And so when we see that this wallet received this amount, this is what it looks like.
Gotcha.
And then the miner will come here and organize each one into a block every 10 minutes.
Okay, so I think the little diagram then shows the ledger should more or less specify its transaction more so than.
Yes, I think you're right. Yeah, I think so. I just put it there just because it looked more. This is how it looks like actually in the code. Yeah. So
now I got the connection, because otherwise I wasn't.
No, yeah, it is.
I got it now.
You got it? Okay, good. So this is what essentially the blockchain is. It's just code that you cannot change and you can't cheat it because the previous one checks on. And each one of these transactions, it organizes for us. Every 10 minutes when one of these blocks is created, you actually 6.25 Bitcoins gets given out, gets released by the blockchain to all of the miners that used their computer to organize this. That's how we incentivize them, right? So, right, here we are, right? Block creation, right? 6.25 Bitcoins dispersed, right? So these TXNs get put here, and then the new block, right? One after the other. Now we call it a suggestion, right? If you look up here, organize the next block and broadcast the suggestions to the network. Now, why do we call it suggestion? Okay, because what happens if you have one chain that's actually cheating and another one that isn't, but the one that's cheating is actually longer, right? Well, by being able to check each and every single block behind it, it doesn't matter if it's the longest one, because on the blockchain, it actually looks for the longest one, but it looks for the longest one that can be traced back. And that's how it organizes. That is really as simple. It's more technical, but obviously that's what a block is. Now, a lot of times people say, okay, well, 6.25 Bitcoin, that seems like a lot. I want to do that. Well, most people who mine actually go into a mining pool, which means they have 1,000 of those in one location, and somebody else has another 1,000 in another location. And they'll mine, right? They'll pool their resources together in order to receive that 6.25 Bitcoin. So they actually only get a small percentage of that 6.25 because they're using what's called a mining pool. Nobody mines by themselves Bitcoin anymore. You have to have probably a couple hundred of those just to mine a few Bitcoin. Okay, just because the more people are mining, the higher the difficulty gets, because that way we create competition so that the value that comes from Bitcoin is because of the scarcity from the competition that it has in receiving it, if that makes sense. Remember, it takes electricity, time, and energy. All right. So now here's a quick video on Bitcoin. Hopefully it explains it better than me. Now here's a quick video on Bitcoin. Hopefully it explains it better than me.
Bitcoin is a digital currency which aims to do away with all the problems we have paying for things online. You may think that the system we have is pretty good. Bitcoin, but everything we buy today has to go through a bank or credit card company and take part of the transaction, and who rely on
Is it the speaker?
You have to trust your card company. But then there's another thing. How do you prove you pay for something? Where do you have that money for?
Sorry, guys.
It's so serious, it has a name, the double spending problem. Then, in In 2008, a solution was offered, a program going by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto. Nakamoto left a paper on a popular cryptography blog, which proposed a system of currency that solved all of these different problems. His proposal was that instead of a bank or credit card company recording every transaction in one central ledger, all of the users would record all of the transactions at the same time. As a result, transactions would be noticed and treated rejected. No one user, government, or bank can force a deal or control the flow. The result is a cheaper, quicker, and easier way to spend money, even across national borders. Some shopping sites take it. You can buy pints in London and even pay for your university tuition. People are founding companies to buy up lots of bitcoins. We can trust digital currency to work without the middleman. The way the world economy functions could be transformed for the better.
We're gonna have to work out how to make that with all that feedback. So let's go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah, you did something a little different.
It worked last time, right? No problem. I really don't understand what I did different. Oh well, it is what it is. No biggie. It's never perfect. All right. So let's talk about the rise of the price of Bitcoin, right? I mean, we're all talking nowadays about how it went down, right? But if you look at it historically, it has gone up. In 2010, it was worth less than a penny, right? And as of June of 2022, it's 21,000. Now, let's put that into some numbers we can understand, right? That means if you had just invested $99 in 2010, you'd have over $42 million by June of 2022. Crazy, right? I wish I would have invested too. I know. I didn't know about it in 2010, to be honest with you. I didn't find out until like good 2015. But still, it's pretty incredible when you think about it. And if you want to go play with it, you can actually go to Bitcoin Profit Calculator at cryptoground.com, and you can actually put in the amount when you invest it, how much it would be.
This variable is not only knowing about it, but then knowing about wallets, keys, and all that other stuff too. I was going to say you would know about that.
And that's the truth. That's the truth. If you did get started then, you probably would have lost some Bitcoin just messing around, putting it here, putting it there. We often talk about that in this space. We say that it's our learning, right? It's our college years, right? It's our tuition, yes. Because all of us have those stories where, you know, we talk about, man, if I had just known, da-da-da. If I had just done, da-da-da. So, you know, obviously we want to remind ourselves not to cry over spilled milk, because the truth is, Bitcoin, this is the beginning. We're still at the beginning of it, guys. I mean, it's only 13 years old now. Think about that. It's barely a teenager. So here are companies that are already accepting Bitcoin, right? So cheapair.com, Etsy, Square, Niue, Overstock, right? If you want to go to space, you can reserve your seats. So these are already companies that are using it. So, you know, it's growing. Okay, Bitcoin is growing, but how do you use it? Let me show you. So Binx.com is a Bitcoin wallet, but it's not just that. Let me show you what it is. So this is El Salvador, right? Because El Salvador has already got Bitcoin. They're already doing it, right? So what are we doing here? Do you or someone you know own a business that would like to accept Bitcoin as a payment? So do you know somebody that, for example, owns a cafe, a flower shop, or a portable food stand, right? Just like we said, if you know someone like that, let me show you can benefit from Bitcoin. Do you provide a service? Maybe you're a personal trainer or a plumber. Would you like to get paid in Bitcoin? Now, I'm a little scared about playing this next video just because it was such a mess. But let me explain it first so you'll just understand the visual. So now, in Binx.com, there's a marketplace. So you can actually sell items at home that you're not using. So you got an old cell phone you want to sell for Bitcoin, you can put it up for sale on the site and then get paid in Bitcoin. And play the commercial. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I'm sure we'll have sound issues for some reason.
Why don't you sell it?
And play the commercial. Pretty self-explanatory.
Like a video game, guitar, or a camera. Why don't you sell it? Buy and sell your stuff for dollars and Bitcoin at Bix.com. That's BINKX.com.
Pretty cool, right? So there's 3 ways, right, that you guys can get started, right? So we have the first way, right, which is shopping. So there's 3 ways. So if you know somebody that has a business and they like to accept it, the other way is if you provide a service, and the third way is you have some unused household items. All right, cool. But what's in it for me? Let me show you. All right, so here's an example, right? Hector's got a guitar he wants to sell. So he's like, okay, who should I sell it to? You know what? I think George wants a guitar. He told me that. So he calls up George. I'm selling my guitar. I'll buy it. Right? He sends him the Bitcoin. Hector sends George the guitar. Everyone is happy. But what if you could earn commissions for these transactions every time just for sharing Bix? Let me show you what I mean. All right. The first promo we have is this, right? So when you get someone started, right, when you sign them up, you get $5. Just a thank you, right? And the app is free. So you just get $5 for, signing up a friend who likes it. But right, so he gets his $5. Now, this is where it really matters. This is something that nobody else offers, okay? So let's say one of your friends here, right, has he owns a flower shop. Another one has a taco stand. Another friend has the cafe, and another friend is a plumber, right? You told them about Bix one time so that they can start actually making purchases of Bitcoin. Every time they do a transaction, you'll earn the tiniest commission, a little tiny commission, right? So that it's almost like, let's say you tell a restaurant, and every time they go in there and they pay in Bitcoin, you're able to earn a little tiny piece of that action, just for spreading the word. Now, everybody always asks the next question, okay, what can I actually make? How does this work? Okay, here's an example. I want to say something about this. This is not going to happen to you. This is a perfect example in a perfect world, okay? But this is what could happen. In this example, each user made $100 in total transactions. Now, let me ask you something. If you actually told a restaurant, let's say you're like a friend or a cousin who has a restaurant, you're like, hey, you want to start taking Bitcoin? Let me show you Bix. And do you think they're going to make more than $100 in transactions? I hope so. I mean, they won't last very long if they don't, right? So now, this is actually, hey, Fernando, this is actually quite small when you think about it, right? So if they made $100 in transactions, 1% of $100 is $1, right? If we divide that by 7, that's 14 cents, right? Now, he has 4 of his friends that got started, right? And if he made 14 cents because each of them made $100 in transactions, that's only 56 cents, right? That's not a whole lot. But let's say that each one of them told 4. And we're talking about all the way down, right? This is what we're talking about for a total reward every 2 weeks. Residually. Now that's of course if you go and tell people about it. If you just say, oh, all I want to do is accept Bitcoin in my business, perfect, that's fine. Just do that. If you tell me, oh, I actually want to sell my goods, perfect. This is just a way for us to pay back the people that are actually telling people about it. All right. So the benefits of the Bix app, right? It's easy to use. I'll show you guys in a second how simple it is. You can purchase Bitcoin with a credit card. It's person to person, no merchant or bank. Cash out anytime. Now, this one is really important, guys, because I'm sure all of you guys have already heard about other companies like Celsius, Voyager. They're having big problems with liquidity. We let you take out your Bitcoin anytime you feel like it. You have your own Bitcoin address. Universal currency, so you can use Bitcoin in any country. So if you go to Japan, where Bitcoin is pretty popular already, you can actually use the Bix app to pay in Bitcoin. Pretty cool. Create a monthly residual. It's actually bi-weekly, but create a monthly residual income. So if you go and tell a lot of people about it, businesses, friends, acquaintances, and every time they use it, you'll get a little tiny piece of that. sell your own products, foods, or services for dollars and Bitcoin. So I didn't mention this, but the products, the foods, and the services that you can sell, you can also do it for dollars. And the commissions are the same. So whether they spend dollars or Bitcoin, it doesn't matter. You're still on these little commissions. And the app is free, right? Okay, great. But when, right? Because, I mean, we're talking a lot of big things and, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. When are we actually going to be able to use Bitcoin to pay for our beer? July 30th is the big party. Okay? So this is the first bar in LA, actually in California, I'm sorry, to take Bitcoin as a payment, which is pretty incredible, I think. It's pretty cool. We're super excited about it. We're going to have the banners out there. It's going to be a lot of fun. So bring your friends, come party. And the great thing about it is, you know, a lot of times people, they won't come to the educational stuff like we're doing here, but they'll go to the party. And at the party, they'll say, hey, what is Bitcoin? Come Thursday. And we'll learn, you know? So super excited about the party. Make sure you make it. It's going to be the greatest Bitcoin party of all time. Now, what is the big picture? Why are we giving away $5? Why are all these transactions? Why are we throwing a party? The community we built together will allow us to approach businesses large and small to accept banks as a payment service, just like Venmo, PayPal, Square, Apple Pay, and many others. And you will profit, right? So what we're trying to do is do a merchant type service with Bitcoin, but do it in a way that we're all kind of sharing. That way we can all kind of incentivize to actually use Bitcoin for what it was meant to be used for. Because right now most people are just buying and holding, right? They're just buying, oh, hopefully one day it'll be $1 million. We need to start using it for what it was meant for. And then we'll be able to get into the hands of more people, and guess what's going to happen? The value will go up dramatically, in my opinion, because when people realize, oh, I can actually use it as money, oh, okay, I'm going to go get some. And when everybody wants a piece, guess what happens to them? Goes up in value. So this is the missing criteria in Bitcoin that we're trying to solve here, so that people actually use it as currency. All right. Now, this is a really good, interesting slide. I several years ago, you know, somebody told me it, and it was for me mind blowing, to be honest with you. So let me go ahead and jump into it. Now, out of 100 college graduates that were tracked from ages 25 to 65, where do you think they ended up? 1% became wealthy. What does that mean? That 1% actually can live off just their income. Okay? I'm sorry, not just their income, the money that they have saved up. Now, 4% are financially independent. That's what I meant to say. Financially independent means that they have 1.3 to 2.5, which means they can live off of the interest of the money that they have saved. So that's just 5% of people that went to college, right? These are college graduates we're talking about. Right, so there he is, right? Life's good. Right? He's balling. He's doing good. He bought some Bitcoin in 2010. So now, 5% are still working after age 65. And it's sad to say, right? I mean, we've seen them. We've all gone to Walmart and see that old man at the front saying hi. We feel bad, but this is real life. 5% are still working. 36% are dead. They don't make it to 65. We all have friends that didn't make it to 65, I'm sure, right? You don't think so because we all think we're going to make it to whatever age, but 36% are dead. Now, a few guys have heard this already, but for those of you guys that haven't heard this one before, when do you think most people have a heart attack? What day of the week and time?
Tuesday.
Actually, Monday. Yeah. Monday morning around 6:30, between 6:30 and 7. Why? Yeah. People are going to jobs they hate. They're doing things they don't want to do, and their body is reacting to it, and they're becoming part of that 36%. It's real. These are real statistics. 54% are dead broke. God, they're dead, right? It's bad. But we have to look at this stuff because this is real life. We have to look at the truth, right? So, you know, and the reason I put this up here is because if you have a better idea than what I'm doing, tell me about it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm you know, but if you see an opportunity here for you to get some Bitcoin, to get started in the space, then let's do it, right? So we can not have this happen to us. Okay? All right. Now, I end this usually with this story that I love to tell, right? So we have Farmer John, and Farmer John has a dog, and this dog is howling It doesn't matter if it's winter time, summer, fall, that dog is howling in pain all the time. So finally, George comes over and he's like, the hell is wrong with this dog? I gotta ask Farmer John what the deal is here, because this dog got real issues. Farmer John, what happened to your dog? I mean, why is it always howling? Well, you see, George, I don't know how I did that. Okay. Got it. Okay, I'll finish it like that. Well, you see, George, he's sitting on a nail. What do you mean he's sitting on a nail? Why didn't he just get off the nail? And he tells him, well, you see, George, it hurts bad enough for him to complain about it, but it doesn't hurt bad enough for him to get up and do something about it. So if you want things to change, you have to change, because this change from cash to Bitcoin is going to happen with or without you, with or without me, right? So like if we don't do this here, guess what? Visa is going to go out there and do exactly what we're doing. And Visa is never going to cut you a piece of that. So we can do it or they can do it, but it's going to happen. So let me help you set up your bank account. Now, what I want to do here is I actually want to show you a few things. Oh, yeah. Let's get a reflector. Cheers is actually on the app now. There we go. Oh, take this out. Yeah.
I haven't been posting. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we got to get on it, right? No worries, man. It happens.
No, cool. Have you ever been here on a weekend night?
Yes.
That was popping?
It's pretty popping.
Okay. Are you going back between now and then?
Yes, a couple times.
Could you take like a quick stupid video, just
Sure.
to get the vibe?
Sure.
And then we could download it and then
Cut some together and show it. Yeah, no problem. I could definitely shoot some there. I'll probably be there on Saturday.
Just a snippet, just 30 seconds.
Because they're already making sales, dude.
Right.
So that's why. Yeah, they're already using it. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
No. But how good has it been?
So I was there. I want to say on Sunday, they sold like 15 beers, 15, 20 beers, something like that on crypto using Binks. So yeah. So for example, look, check it out. So this is the app Binks, right? So 20,000 right now. Those of you here, it is commerce, right? Let's click to buy, right? Now we're going to go to food and I'm going to type in Cheers, right? So Cheers. Oh, it just popped up. Cheers Bar and Grill. Done. Search. There it is. I took that picture right outside the bar and I posted and everything. So imagine, now check this out, right? So we have contact, right? So you can call them, right? If you want to, let me cancel that. You can get directions to that bar, right? Wait a second while I grab directions. Come on. I know the internet's slow.
But they're using it.
Yeah, they're using it. Yes, that's what's incredible about it. I had like a little teardrop, dude, when I saw it. It was like, oh. I couldn't believe it. Okay, I need better internet for that. So, and messages, right? So if I want to contact them, I can send them a message, right? So as you can see, right, this is the Cheers where we will all be partying at, and people can find it. So now, this is the wallet, guys, right? So how it works, right? So we have purchase, coin, convert coins. So you can convert from dollars to Bitcoin, Bitcoin to dollars. We have Bitcoin address.
Are we charged when we convert dollars into Bitcoin?
Yes. There's an 8% charge. Yeah. And of course, if you want to buy some shoes, or something else, you click on shoes and that's it, right? So we have all of this stuff for sale now already. It's just kind of cool. We're putting stuff up. So I don't know. I think I'll buy an Echo Dot. So it's cool. This is all stuff that people are selling, for Bitcoin or dollars, right? So it's Pretty exciting. And that's essentially it, guys. So if you're interested, let me walk you through the process of signing up.
Oh, I saw that before.
Yeah. You logged out. You ready? Okay. So go to binks.com, binkx.com in Safari. Should look like that. Got it? Okay. Click on sign up. Type in your phone number. So with the 1310-683-8088, right? And you're going to click on get text password, and you'll actually get a password, right? And so just go to your text messages. Let me pull it up. 9561, right? So 9561, we'll put it in there. Click next. Did you get to this page?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, what I want you to do actually is in this top section, give me 1 second while I look something up real quick, because I want to make sure we do that correctly. File, Chrome. Okay, here we go. Go to back office. Okay. Okay, so what I want you to do is in these first two boxes, I want you to type this in. The first two that say admin, I want you to type in Carlos 120BX. Just like I wrote it there. Carlos 120BX. All right. And if you did it correctly, it should say validated, check and sponsor username. Okay, perfect. Now, in that next box, put in your email address. So I'm just going to use a test one. Test at tester12.com. Okay. Then the next one is first name, last name. Now, the one after the last name is a username. Now, this is how people will pay you and how you will sign in. So pick something that you'll remember, but not too long or too short. So, whatever it is you want to pick it. For example, Ed's is Telus TV. Fernando's is F Zeladome, first initial, last name. So we'll call it, I'm going to call it test with the date today. Let's use 7/14/22. Yeah. Bruce, 1. Okay.
What app do you use to get your forms too?
I forgot the name of it actually. It's called Reflector.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called Reflector. As long as you're on the same network, you can do it back and forth. So it's pretty cool.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
All right, and then once you have all that in, right? Oh, looks like there was a password mismatch for me. Okay, so you got all these up, and there's no mistakes. So I'm going to click on register now. Once you go to register, don't touch it. It does take a second, right? You actually want to wait like a full 30 seconds before you even, it should turn blue, and then just leave it alone. There it is. Okay, perfect. You see, so you want to get to this screen right here. Did you get to that one?
Yeah.
Perfect. Click OK. Now just log in with the username and password you came up with. Were you able to log in?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So Now that you're in, let me show you a few of these cool features. Hold on. All right. All right, that's it. Let me just get música going and we're good. All right, I'm going to end the broadcast.